Hello and welcome to another season of Get Outside St. Tammany, a show dedicated to all things related to the outdoors in St. Tammany Parish. We are glad to have you along for another season, and we are always glad to have the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries with us. And today joining us is Megan McMenamin, who is with the department, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're here to talk about a very special program, but always you have to tell us what you do because the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is huge. So tell us about your job.
Well, I'm a fisheries biologist. I work with the Fisheries Extension Outreach Section, which means my job is really to get out into the community and work with the public and make sure that they're informed about all of the things the department does, and then also provide as many fishing opportunities and interest in the department as I can.
So it's got to be a pretty cool, being a biologist is one thing, taking that to the public, I would think it would be fun, but also a challenge, because do you have to explain to dummies out there the very basics of fishing and non-biological terms?
That's actually what I love about my job, is I get to do both the scientific side of it, kind of get the research side of it, but then I get to share that. I'm a teacher at heart, so I love to get out there and share all of the great things that are being done by the department. So
talk about the Get Out and Fish program, and how did that come about, and what is it about?
The Get Out and Fish program is our community fishing program. So as you know, here in Louisiana, we have so many opportunities to go fishing. It's a great state to be an angler in. However, a lot of times we found that those required access to resources, such as a boat, or maybe just a lot of time and money to plan a trip like that. When it came down to finding good places that you could go close to home fishing and still catch big, catchable, adult-sized fish that you wanted to take home and eat, those were fewer opportunities. So we started the community fishing program in order to bring those quality fishing opportunities to all of Louisiana's residents.
So how does that work? Is this a weekend thing where you go out, or is this you take it to a school, or both? Or?
Well, what we do is we actually find locations within the community that have ponds, things like that, and we stock them in the spring and fall with adult-sized channel catfish, and then again in the wintertime if the weather's permitting with the rainbow trout.
How many sites do you have? Do you even know? Is it hard to count?
We currently have 11 sites that are on board. The closest one here in St. Tammany is actually Zamurray Park in Hammond, but we're always looking to add more sites. We're trying to add 3 to 4 new sites a year if possible. So we would be really interested in finding a new site here in St. Tammany.
How do you go about selecting a site? And I guess more specifically, if someone thinks they have a site that would be an opportunity, what would they need to do?
Well, what we're looking for is places that are open to the public. That's our biggest criteria. And then they have a pond that's suitable for stocking, usually something that's between 2 and 5 acres, but it can be a little smaller or a little bit bigger. And then anything that has good amenities with it always is a plus. If it has parking and restrooms and playground equipment, things like that, it makes it a better Get Out and Fish community fishing site, just because it makes it easier and more accessible to people.
Does this have to be on public property? Can someone have a private pond or something that can be used?
It has to be open to the public.
Okay.
So we have worked with organizations that have ponds, but as long as they leave that pond open to the public equally, then that's a site that we can take into consideration.
And so a landowner or a homeowner is probably not going to want strangers
right.
coming on their property all
Probably
the time.
not the best option.
Got it. So once you select the site, talk about the program itself from start to finish. Is it a set time where you go out and educate, or is it an all-day event? How does this work?
Well, what we do is, like I said, once we've selected this site, we're going to launch that site with a big Get Out and Fish event. So we actually partner up with a local organization that manages that pond. Usually that's the city government or the parish government, and we bring this Get Out and Fish event to it to launch it. And that event is an all-ages fishing competition, but it also has a lot of fun fishing educational activities provided at it. So I actually have a couple of pictures here from one of our events. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. This is our touch tank. We always bring that out there, and what they're actually doing here is fish identification. This is one of our biologists, Elena McGarry, and she's holding up a shark there. And that kid is actually getting an opportunity to touch a shark. You can tell he was a little bit nervous about it.
Either.
But fishing identification is always a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
We also will help you with the basics, how to rig your rod and reel, how to select your bait, just a casting practice. This is our casting inflatable that we'll take out to our events. And so it's like a big blow-up inflatable, and then you just try to make the cast into the fish's mouth here, if you can
okay,
see that.
So as we're looking, those are fish
Those are fish mouths coming out of the water.
Yeah.
And so we practice casting, and they'll give you tips on how to cast and how to perfect that skill. And so really what we want to do with this event is provide an opportunity for anglers of all skill levels to feel comfortable coming out and enjoying this community fishing site. So if you've never been fishing before, but something you've thought about getting interested in, or you want to bring your kids out there and have them learn how to fish, this is going to be a great opportunity. And then this is one more picture I want to show you. This is actually a kid at Murray Park who caught this catfish. So what I'm kind of wanting to demonstrate here is that you're catching fish that are fun to catch, something that you're going to want to clean, take home and eat. A lot of times when you go fishing at these little community ponds, what you're catching is fun, but it's not something that's keepable. Right.
Yeah,
so
you can't eat it.
That's what is so great about this program. And then, like I've kind of mentioned, we stock these on a regular basis, and that's on an ongoing basis. So after that event is over, you'll still get that pond stocked in the spring and fall on a monthly basis with the catfish. So there's going to be a lot more opportunities to go out fishing after that. So encourage new people to start fishing, encourage people who maybe haven't been fishing in a long time to get out there again, because it's right down the street, you know.
And you've alluded to the fact, fishermen or women of all ages, it appears that this is got a kids element to it. Is that the case? Is this geared toward family and kids?
Well, we always love to get families out there fishing together. That's important to us, but it's not necessarily geared towards kids. It's for all ages. We want everybody to feel like they have a good opportunity to go fishing and have somewhere that they can fish and have fun at it again. So maybe you've sold your boat and haven't been in a long time, or you just haven't had time to travel. You can still go down to your community fishing site, no matter your age or your skill level, and have fun fishing again. So.
What type of crowd do you generally see at one of these events?
Oh, our events just keep growing, actually. We've been surprised by that. We launched this program back in 2014 at Girard Park in Lafayette, and we had no idea what to expect. And the day we launched it, we found it was going to be like 32 degrees outside, so we were nervous people weren't going to be interested. And we had 200 people show up for the event. They were waiting in line when we got there. And then every event since then, it just keeps getting more and more successful. So we recently had one over in Lake Charles that had over 400 people at it, and the one in Hammond had well over 400 people at it. So we know that it's something the community is excited about, because every time we offer one of these events, we have a big crowd come out there, and just a lot of families, a lot of community organizations, a lot of involvement from the community.
And is there none in St. Tammany right now? Or?
No, not in St. Tammany.
So you're looking.
But we would love to have something in St. Tammany. We would like to eventually get one in every parish throughout the state. So Hammond's the closest. Is there any other within a 40 or 45 mile radius that you can think of off the top of your head? We have a site down in Chalmette, New Orleans area, which is at Sidney Torres Park, and then Baton Rouge has a site, a get out and fish site, and one of the Breck sites at Burbank Park. So those are kind of the immediate surrounding area sites. So. Do you have any events coming up? And I'm putting you on the spot on this, but I'm thinking ahead. Any events maybe in the early spring that people can go to? We're going to have two. If you're willing to drive to Youngsville, which is just south of Lafayette area, that's our next one in April. And we're really excited about that one. That's at Southside Regional Park. And then we're going to have another one up in northern Louisiana in May, on May 5th in Reston. Got it. What happens after the event? You've already touched on this. It remains open, and I guess people can come and go. Is that an all-day? I mean, you can go at any time once the event happens? As long as the park is open, and the park is going to have, some of them have hours and things like that, so you need to check. But yes, it's going to be open fishing after that. With the catfish, you have to follow state regulations and all that. And with the rainbow trout, you can go fish for them, and you can keep 5 fish per person per day. So it's just open fishing after that. So we have catfish and trout. Are those the basic 2 fish? Do you have other fish? Those are the 2 that we stock with this program. Why is that? I mean, it's kind of a stupid question. I probably know the answer to it, but why those 2? Catfish, because they're an easy and fun fish to catch, and so you're going to have pretty good luck catching it. We want something that, especially if you're new to the sport of fishing, you can feel like you have a good time catching it. And then rainbow trout are not a native species to Louisiana, so they always get a lot of excitement around them, because it'll be your first time to catch a rainbow trout. It's something you may not have ever had an opportunity to catch before. So that's why we stock the rainbow trout.
Fair enough. And I presume you get a lot of repeat people that frequent these.
Of course.
Places.
Anytime we're getting ready to do another stocking, we get a bunch of people emailing us, hey, do you know the date of when that's happening? And there'll be people out there ready to fish the day we're stocking them. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that go back to these ponds every opportunity they can to go fishing.
The ponds, I don't know the size, but how big are they? How many people do you usually have out there fishing at once on a good day?
Well, the ponds range everywhere, like I said, from 2 acres to a couple of them are up as big as 10 acres, and they can have a lot more space. So it's just depends on what's available in that community on what size that pond is.
Got it. What else do you want to add about the program?
Well, I'd like to actually mention, I've talked a lot about our Get Out and Fish event. However, once we've launched this site, we're not going to come back out there again and have any more events. So what we're actually hoping to do is find partners within those communities that want to help us continue offering fishing education opportunities at these sites. So we have our volunteer instructor program, which is a great opportunity for people who are interested in teaching other people how to fish. We'll train them how to have events. We'll also provide them with the gear necessary, like fishing rods and reels and art activities and educational fishing activities, that then they can go out and kind of continue this opportunity to learn at this community fishing site. So we're always looking to reach out to partners in the community to help us continue these opportunities.
Can that extend out of the community? So what I'm getting at is, can someone in St. Tammany become a partner in Hammond?
Absolutely. We would love that. Yeah, so if anybody in St. Tammany is interested in volunteering to help us with any of our events or even hosting their own events, then they need to look into our volunteer instructor program.
And how would they do that?
They would visit our website, and that's, do you want me to give it to you?
Absolutely.
WLF.la.gov, and then just look up the VIP program, Volunteer Instructor Program.
Got it. Well, that's really cool. Anything else, any parting words on the program? Very exciting stuff.
No, I think that's everything. So thank you very much for having me out here today. I was excited to talk to you.
We covered a lot of ground. Megan, always good to have the department, and good to meet you as well.
Thank
and good
you.
luck with your upcoming events.